Yes. Subjectively, Deltarune is the better game. From the coding to the art, Deltarune comes out above Undertale. But you didn't come here to hear me talk about the clear facts that many probably already know. In fact, I'm surprised you clicked on this at all. The question I'm here to answer is Deltarune better than Undertale? Because you're all dying to know, right?
What's this? What's going on? Do I have to touch those? Touch them? I thought it was like a Guitar Hero game. Whatever.
As many of you already know, Undertale's code is a heap of if-then statements, which break the game completely. I've heard many say Toby's coding is trash, and to respond, of course it is. Toby made Undertale as a test game, to say the least. But to simply get this segment out of the way, Toby learned, and with that knowledge, coded a better game. Oh wow, this is pretty cool. Oh my god! I ironically completely forgot to write an art segment, so this entire portion is just going to be completely improvised in my closet. So forgive me for the lack of vocabulary. Undertale's art is gorgeous. There are many moments in the game that just make you stare in awe, such as the castle scene right after Waterfall with Monster Kid. But in comparison to Deltarune, there's just no possible way to say Undertale takes the cake here, because Deltarune just has this etherealness to it that just makes you, like, drop your jaw. Like I said with the coding segment, Toby obviously learned many techniques to pixel art and put them into use in Deltarune. In fact, the funniest thing and the most ironic thing about this segment is the fact that Temmie made multiple pieces of art and gave it to Toby, but Toby said it was too good looking and told them to make it worse. In fact, Papyrus had many scrapped sprites that were too good for the game, so he had to dumb them down to make them look, quote, shittier. Obviously, Toby knew what he was doing when it came to art, but Deltarune, he took the limits that he put on himself in Undertale and just scrapped them off, and made Deltarune into his genuine vision of what he wanted it to visually look like, audibly sound like, and just into a better game. I am going to show two songs made by Toby, one from Undertale and the other from Deltarune, and it will be your job to tell me which of the two reflects more visceral emotions. Obviously, you either say one of the three things. I liked Undertale's more, I liked Deltarune's more, or I liked them equally. I can't choose. However, there is no correct choice, because between the two, the answer changes depending on the person. Toby is a phenomenal composer. There's no correct answer other than that. He's able to tell a story using the many motifs throughout both the games, like the Freedom and Lost Girl leitmotifs, or just simply the overarching themes heard throughout the games. Toby is one that is able to impose many emotions, which for many just can't be compared, and now I'm sure you're beginning to recognize a pattern. Whether you like Deltarune or Undertale more, you have to admit that you aren't curious what Deltarune has to offer. The mystery coming from Deltarune is so mysterious. It leads you to question what mysteries Mr. Mysterious Mystery Man has to offer. But seriously, Undertale and Deltarune's writing are very different. Undertale was a story about finding or losing friendships, a story of hope, and a story of despair. To put it simply, your choices mattered in Undertale. Deltarune is quite the opposite. While it still holds the same adventure for loss and friendships, a main motif that Deltarune upholds is that your choices don't matter. I mean, it was seen in the first chapter, one of the first ever sentences said in the game. But the reason you can't compare the two's writing is because one kind of bounces off of the other. In fact, a quote from Toby specifically says, "In 2011, when I was away from home while I was in college, I suddenly got sick. I couldn't get any medicine and I had a very clear dream when I was sleeping with high fever. That was the dream of the ending of the game, and since then I was obsessed with the idea that I had to make that ending a game." So it's very obvious that Toby had this idea of Deltarune in his head since 2011, so the reason you can't compare them is because they're technically the same story. However, Undertale was created as a test to see if Toby could create a game and a foundation to jump off of. Although the game itself wasn't coded all that well, he still proved he was able to. But not only did he create a test game or demo, he created a world that also proved his writing capabilities. Toby managed to make us care for characters, then told us we can kill them afterwards. Toby gave us hope, then in return for more out of the game, gave us loss, gave us despair. The everlasting impact that Undertale had on me still shows in myself and who I used to be. Although I don't remember a lot of my childhood, Undertale stands out. I remember when I was in elementary school, I used to wear a blue Sans jacket. I was very proud of it. I used to watch Yub, who I think played my first Undertale playthrough. Memories stand out to me of being a lonely kid. I was weird, undiagnosed, and again, weird. Undertale is one of the only things that I felt was mine. September 15th, my birthday. Finding out that my favorite game shared the same birthday felt like a present for me to savor forever. I may not be that same kid, but it's still me, despite everything. Undertale impacted other games and people too, obviously. The fandom, although being weird, also gave the internet some of the greatest projects given. My personal favorite, although basic, is Underverse, but I don't want to get into that in this video.
So cool. So cool.
Sans,
so
what are you
cool.
doing?
So cool.
Sans!
So cool. So cool.
Sans!
So cool. So cool.
Shut the fuck up, Sans!
Cool.
Sense! Oh my god, stop! Rotating. Don't move. And now Gaster Blaster again. Oh, Glamburger. Use the Glamburger. What the heck? Oh, is Papyrus an evil, like, overlord? An actual intimidating overlord in, like, general? Because Papyrus here does look pretty darn intimidating. Blue, orange. Or, oh no! The freaking blue attack!
Also, it technically impacted the world? Like, why did MatPat give the Pope a copy of Undertale?
Clooney, the George Clooney. See, this is me talking, and that is George Clooney. Same row and seat as mine, only mirrored across the vertical axis. There he is, listening intently to everything I'm saying, enraptured by every word coming out of my mouth.
To follow that up, played Megalovania for the Pope. Not to go on a tangent, but I've always been annoyed seeing Megalovania be the song that Undertale is associated with, when there are many more beautiful songs to justify playing for the Pope. No offense to MatPat, though, I know he apologized for it, and it was technically the most justified gift that was given to the Pope. Everyone has different ideas on the story given in Undertale, some based upon personal headcanons or genuine canon, but everyone has different ideas of both Undertale and Deltarune. Both Deltarune and Undertale give logical and technical reasons to be better than one another, but to compare them is simply unfair. I know throughout the video I've said that Deltarune technically upholds better standards than Undertale, while Undertale has different factors that are still better than Deltarune. I don't know. One is an impactful story with an ending. Deltarune still has an impact, but no ending. One is finished and the other isn't. But is that the real reason you can't compare them? An entire decade later, and to simplify that even more, 10 years later, Undertale still stands as one of the top indie games in the world. Undertale is still very nostalgic to me and many others, and to see the impact that it has left throughout the world for many years is kind of powerful. The real reason no one can actually compare Deltarune and Undertale is because they're one and the same. Deltarune uses the impact that Undertale left and builds upon it. To play Deltarune and understand it, you need Undertale. In conclusion, Deltarune is not better than Undertale, and vice versa. Subjectively, Deltarune is better. Objectively, it is your choice to make. To listen to my opinion on each game contradicts the video. Your choices and opinions matter. Make them matter.